So today, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to do the math on what a normal American life actually costs. We're going to calculate the real price tag of being average, and I promise by the end of this, you'll see exactly why that feeling of working so hard but getting nowhere, it's not just in your head. It is, quite literally, in the numbers. Just picture this for a second. Your cart's full, just the basics. The cashier's waiting, there's a line of people behind you, and that little machine just says no. You get that hot flash of shame, right? That little bit of panic. A feeling that somehow you failed at being a grown-up. But what if I told you that feeling isn't a personal failure? What if it's just the new average? See, in America today, that standard issue life we're all told to shoot for has become mathematically almost impossible to afford. And it's so easy to feel like it's somehow your fault. Okay, let's get into the actual numbers. We're gonna start by breaking down the finances of a median American household. Forget all the headlines, forget the political spin. Let's just see where the money really goes. So the median household income in the US is about $84,000 a year. And, on paper, that sounds pretty decent, right? That's supposed to be solidly middle class. But let's see what happens the second that money actually hits a bank account. Right off the bat, after taxes and maybe a tiny retirement contribution, that 84 grand turns into about $5,460 a month. Now, just watch how fast this evaporates. Housing, based on national averages, bam, over $2,000 gone. Transportation, that's your car payment, insurance, gas, eats another $1,300. Food and basic utilities, poof, there goes another grand. And finally, health insurance and the average student loan payment take another $550. It's gone in a flash. And this is what's left. $460 a month. I mean, that has to cover clothes, emergencies, savings, literally everything else. One flat tire, one unexpected trip to the doctor, and you are officially in the red. This isn't really living, it's just surviving on a razor's edge. This is the math of being average. Okay, so the logical answer is to just earn more, right? I mean, if 84K isn't enough, then surely a six-figure salary is the ticket. Well, this is what leads us to the second and honestly, maybe the more dangerous trap. Let's meet a hypothetical family we'll call the Parkers. The Parkers, they pull in a combined household income of $130,000 a year. Now they're in the top 25% of earners in the entire country. By every single cultural metric we have, they have made it. They should be comfortable, they should be secure, they should be building wealth. But are they? Okay, their take-home pay is just over $7,000 a month. But with a higher income, well, here come the higher expectations. A bigger house, better school district, that's over $3,500. You need 2 reliable cars for 2 commutes, that's another $1,400. Then you add the real cost of a family, more food, higher health insurance, and oh yeah, childcare, which is basically a second mortgage. Add in their student loans and utilities, and they aren't just back at zero, they are going backwards every single month. And this right here is the real kicker. When you put them side by side, it's just, wow. The average household is barely scraping by with a tiny surplus. But the above average household, the one that did everything right, is actually losing money every month just to keep up the appearance of their successful life. Earning more didn't buy them freedom. It just bought them a much more expensive cage. Look, this isn't an individual problem. This is not about people being bad at budgeting. This is a systemic problem. You're not bad at math. The math itself is broken. So let's zoom out for a second and look at the big picture of why this is even happening. This one chart tells the entire story. Since 1990, yeah, sure, wages have gone up. But just look at the costs for the basic pillars of a middle-class life. Housing costs haven't just gone up, they've quadrupled. College tuition has gone up even more than that. Your paycheck just hasn't stood a chance against the price of admission to a stable life. And here's the really uncomfortable truth. The system is built on incentives that are not designed for your financial well-being. Mortgage brokers get paid when you take out the biggest loan you possibly can. Car dealerships make the sale by stretching payments out for 7 years, making a ridiculously expensive car seem affordable. Their goal is to make the sale today, not to ensure your stability 10 years from now. Okay, I know that was a lot of bad news, but understanding the game is the very first step to winning it. So now, let's talk about the solution. There is a clear 3-step plan to opt out of this rigged system and actually take back control of your money. First, you have to run your real numbers. The big goal is to get your fixed expenses, that's your housing, cars, loans, to less than 50% of your take-home pay. Second, you have to identify and slay your financial vampires, the biggest expenses that are just draining your financial lifeblood. And third, and this is the most important one, you have to build and protect your gap. So, what are these vampires? Well, for almost everyone, they are these two things right here. The oversized house you were told is a great investment, but in reality, it just traps all of your cash flow. And the brand new car, a depreciating asset that you literally pay interest on for the privilege of watching it lose value every single day. And that brings us to the gap. This is probably the single most important concept in this whole explainer. It's the space between what you earn and what you spend. Most people have no gap, which means your only path to real wealth is to create one. Every single dollar you save in that gap is a vote for your own freedom. It's a tiny rebellion against a system that just wants you to spend everything you make. So it all comes down to a choice. Because let's be honest, opting out is not easy. It just involves a different kind of hard. And that brings us to the final and most crucial question, which hard are you going to choose? You really do get to choose your hard. On one side, there's the socially acceptable hard, that constant low-grade stress of living paycheck to paycheck, the fights about money, the fear that one unexpected bill could wipe you out. Or there's the socially unacceptable hard, driving a 10-year-old car, living in a smaller house than your friends, saying no to things you actually can't afford. One path leads to servicing debt forever. The other one leads to building actual freedom. So that's the final question, isn't it? Will you sacrifice your stability for the appearance of success, or will you sacrifice appearance for actual freedom? Most people, without even realizing it, make the first choice. The radical move is to make the second. It might not look as good on Instagram, but the freedom to sleep at night, to handle an emergency without panic, and to not be a slave to your bills, well, that's the only definition of wealth that truly matters.